The markets in advance of the election and now on the back of the result of the election seem incredibly positive towards German equities. Is that premature?
I think possibly a little bit, Steve. I think what the market is seeing now is some stability. At least we know who won the election, we know who's claiming it, and then we know who the coalition is going to be based around from here. So I think the market is taking that as a huge positive. It could have been worse. It could have been the case that the CDU didn't get that level that they needed to kind of start making a coalition, and then we could have entered a messy few months of parties scrambling around and no clarity for business. So thankfully we'll have avoided that.
We do have months or certainly weeks of scrambling around for key roles, including finance and economy minister as well. The high hope is that it will be a grand coalition between the CDU and the SPD, possibly with one other party in there as well. And it's no guaranteed fact that the SPD will go into coalition with the CDU. So what happens next to equities during this interregnum period as well? Is it a period of pause and reflection?
I think, yeah, the more a pause and reflection, really. I think what the positive here is that if we looked at the policies of these parties before the election, they were broadly aligned on certain things like the economy, bringing the need to bring down energy prices, the need to invest heavier in infrastructure and things like this. So ultimately, who exactly moves into the coalition is another question, but at least the policies are somewhat aligned, and then you should have some positives coming through for businesses down the line. And you mentioned the companies rallying today, and that does make a lot of sense given the policies, particularly the CDU, have outlined.
And Michael, I believe you have a contrarian positive call on what's happening for the auto sector as the outlook. We are showing you at this stage how some of the automakers are moving at this stage. We are seeing green for most of them at this stage. My question to you is, what is the outlook here? Why do you seem to have a contrarian positive call?
So I think ultimately our view on the autos was that the sector is so badly beaten up. Yes, there's some huge concerns. Yes, they've been hit by every side. Chinese EVs proliferating Europe, the Chinese consumer buying less European EVs, and now the threat of tariffs in the US. So it's been a pretty bad year or two for the German automakers, but our kind of stance is that it doesn't take a lot to turn that momentum and shift that slightly in the positive direction. And a new government in place with a mandate to really take down energy prices, trying to improve competitiveness in the economy. Any little bit of give there could really give that sector the boost it badly needs at this stage.
Let's talk about defense as well. We know that the expectation is that there will be more defense spending across the board. We are seeing defense names in Germany also moving higher at this stage. But my question to you is, what will be the catalyst really for more upside for defense names? I'm starting to hear conversations around whether we should see merges within the defense sector. So we have these champions in the middle of the pressure coming from the United States. Could that be the catalyst going forward for more upside for defense names?
Certainly more cooperation across the name, Sylvia, is probably the name of the game. Countries and European kind of defense giants cooperating on certain projects could give them a long kind of tailwind on certain things. That's certainly a positive. But definitely the comments already out of the CDU since they've claimed the election are very nationalistic, and the idea that they need to protect themselves and rely less on the US. And that very much feeds into the defense narrative, the need to spend more on defense. And again, all of this just supports those defense companies that have been doing so well now for the last year or two.